we've got hearts, we've got glitter, we've got resin, we've got some other additives. I'm going to experiment with these moulds. First time using these, first time using this, which is a white, and a first time we're using this as well. Now I wasn't sure whether these were additives to UV resin or it was actually resin themselves, and it works out the resin themselves. So the first thing I want to do is just test one of these just to see what it's like. So this is orange. Now I don't know if you're supposed to shake them or not, but I'm going to give them a shake. Oh, do you like the new gloves? This is going to be the new theme for our resin project. They're my channel colours, so that's what we're going with. Right, let's have a look how these ones do. Is there a seal on them? Yeah, looks like there's a seal of some kind. I'm going to get that open and I'll be with you in a minute. Right, that was an effort like it always is. Now you might be wondering, why, Stacey, you've got loads of glitter, you've got loads of UV resin, why have you bought glitter resin? Simple answer is I weren't sure if it was an actual additive at the time or whether it was, sorry, I was just checking if it was clean, whether it was an additive at the time or if it was actual glitter. Plus, glitter at my desk with all my filming equipment isn't a good idea, so I thought I'd give this a try and just see what it's like. And that way as well, guys, you get to see it yourselves. Now I've still not come to a way of figuring out how to get this a flat top. I don't want to go into loads of sanding and I don't want to go into it being too domed, but I got to thinking domes might actually look quite nice, but then it'll have like a flat edge. So the other thought I had was using these scrapers, and it might not be the right thing to do, but this is what I do. So I'm just going to get baby white and silicone scraper. So let's have a look. There we go. So we've got excess there, and yeah, I'm wasting it. But at least I then find out that that is nice and flat. So I'm just going to get that under the UV light and let's see how it cures. So I've took that out, I'm just going to leave that there to cool down for the minute. And I'm going to use some UV resin and this. I've covered the label up with the instructions. That's what I generally do. I generally tape the instructions to the outside. The label on this said epoxy resin dye paste. And I don't know if epoxy resin and UV resin will do the same thing, but we're about to find out. So I want to mix these up. And I don't know if I'm going to be putting enough in here, but we're going to see. I think I might put too much in rather than not enough. And pretty sure this is going to have a seal on it as well. I need to de-seal all my things. Back with you in a minute. So we've got some UV resin in there, and I'm just going to put a very small amount in. Let's try that. And I'm going to mix it up. Oh, that went quite quick. You don't need much at all of that. Let's give that a couple minutes stir, and I'll be back with you in a minute. So that's nicely mixed in. I have incorporated some bubbles, so I'm going to leave that off to the side just to sort of de-bubble. Is that a word? If it's not, I claim it. And I'm just going to put that over to one side, pop my lid back on that white thing, and we're going to take this one out and see how these resins have fared up. Yeah, quite happy with that. It's more of a shimmer than a sparkle, but obviously that holds a very opaque colour at the same time. Right, let's get some white ones done. See how these go. I'm going to do it in the next size up, just because I want to see what it looks like and how it fares up. Don't know if we're going to have enough for a big heart, but we'll have a look. It's like I mix quite a lot. See, I can definitely see the difference now between the level of this one and the level of this one. So I think I might be getting the eye for it. let's get these under. Let them cure up and I'll be back. Yep, that's hard. And I'm presuming it will be on the other side because it's a two-sided lamp. Whilst I was letting these cure, oh, they're nice and glossy. Still a bit warm, so I don't want to squish it too much. But I like them. So whilst I was getting cured, I come up with an idea of why don't we just test that's still soft in the middle, I can see it going in. Put that back in. So I thought, why don't we test the glitter with some of this white pigment paste. So once this one's cured, I'll show you what I mean. Back in a minute. So I'm going to take this one out and I'll show you what I mean, what I said earlier about the idea that I've got. It's still quite warm then. I'm thinking of a couple of different things. One of them being this glitter thing that we've just done. Don't know how this is going to work, but obviously we'll find out. So just out of curiosity, obviously if we were on a flat surface, this will be different. Well, let's get that under first. Obviously this one's not going to work, but maybe we could turn this into something else. Let's just make it a heart within a heart. See if that works. Maybe, we'll see. I think our little smiley face might be a good one. Let's see how this cures. I don't want it in too long. My idea is to put the white resin over the top whilst it's still a little bit sort of tacky, and then let it all cure up together. So that's at about 60 seconds. Don't know if it's set or anything, but we may as well have a little look. No, it's actually gone quite hard. So it's a bit harder than what I was thinking. And I'm going to tip this white over the face first. See if we can get this filled up. It's not to the tippy top. Well, I think that's going to be one of my regular sayings, tippy top, because it's not doing exactly what I'm after. On one of my previous videos, I've shown you some different resins that I got, and one of them was black. So I'm going to see what this looks like with black. And then, if everything works out well, I might actually try a white and black marble. Just going to let that level out a little bit. Okay, the bubble there I'll get rid of. We'll put them in and see how it goes. Right, let's take them up and see if they've cured. Now, there's a difference in sound. So we know that's the black resin, which we've used loads of times. And this is the one with the epoxy paste. There's definitely a dull sound on that. And I'm just wondering whether in the middle of this it's still soft. So I'm just going to get my little dotty tool with the silicone thingy-majig. And I'm just going to see if I can push this through, because it feels... yeah, it's definitely not going through, but it's definitely making a dent. Can you see that? I'm going to try that one on the black as well in a minute when it's cooled down. But we can take them out of the moulds for now, at least. Let's see what we've got. He's cute, isn't he cute? For some reason the epoxy didn't, sorry, the resin didn't go all the way to the point, so he's not got a pointy bottom like he should have. But yeah, I think we can do something with that. Right, let's see if the heart within the heart worked. Yeah, it's not brilliant, but maybe if you let it settle for a bit longer, to sort of find its own level, that might have worked. I think it might have just been a bit quick to do it. I'm gonna let that one cool down. And we'll do the diggy test with that one in a minute. But what I wanted to do is try this marbling. Now, should we go? We'll stay with the medium size. I was thinking of going for the bigger size, but I didn't mix that much white up. So I've got, I think because that's a squirty bottle and this is a drippy tub, I might do that with that hand and do that with that hand. I hope you can see what I'm actually doing. And then hopefully get a similar amount on either side. That's a big bubble now, isn't it? I'm just hoping it doesn't go grey. And I'm going to slowly mix them. Let's have a look. I'm after either a marbler or at least a mixed resin. I'm not after it going grey. That's the main thing I want, not for it to be grey. So I don't want to do too much with it, but I also don't want to do not enough. Maybe a layered approach might have been better than sort of a half and a half. I think if we do any more than that, it's going to start mixing. I feel like I've gone all the way down to the bottom with it. Make sure there is no bubbles. Oh, that's clever, wasn't it? Don't put your lighter too close to it. Lesson learned for today. Let's see if this can get on without making too much of a issue out of it. I'm going to leave that under there for 3 minutes and we'll come back to it in a minute. Not in a minute, we'll come back to it in 3 minutes. Just while that's curing, this is now cooled down. I just want to do that push test on this and make sure we're getting similar results. So yeah, that is going in just as much as the white one, but it's not actually leaving an indentation, where this one definitely left an indentation. I think what I need to do is the UV resin that I'd mixed with it that was clear, and just make sure it's not the resin that's at fault and it is actually by adding the paste that it has done that. So I'll press a bit harder and just make sure. See, that does make an indent and then it sort of bounces back. Don't know if you can see that. But pushing down on it is going in, but then it bounces back and it does leave like a little mark, but nothing compared to that one where it's actually sort of dipped in as well. Alright, let's get these out. I just want to do the tappy tap test. Still seems a little bit soft. That may be because it's still warm. I'm too anxious, not anxious, what's the word? Impatient. I want to see what it looks like. Okay, so we mixed it quite well on the top, but not enough on the bottom. I did take the cocktail stick toothpick all the way down to the bottom, but obviously not enough. So if I want a marble, I mean it looks good in its own itself, especially like if you want a smoky kind of look, that was quite nice. But the whole idea of doing these experiments is to see what works, what doesn't, how to make it better next time, and we can make an actual project out of it rather than playing about with things that we don't know while we don't know what we're doing. So I am going to do that again because I want it to work the way I want it to work, but I do like that just for its own smokiness, you know, the black and the black, but I do think it could do with mixing. So instead of doing it side by side, I think what I'll do is just pour them both sort of in the middle as much as I can do. So I'm going to get some white mixed. Okay, so I've got a little bit of the white mixed, but I did say I wanted to test this hardness of this clear one again. So I'm going to stick with the same size, even though I don't really want to. I want to check that it is actually curing hard and whether it is the white pigment that is making the difference or whether it's just this actual resin. So I'm going to cure it exactly the same amount of time. It might mean that with the pigment you need to do it for a little bit longer. I also don't want it to look like a spotty cow. I think we've got quite a lot of black in there now. So I'm just going to top the rest up with white. And I'm thinking rather than stir it with a toothpick, which was obviously very thin at the end and maybe not pushed it around enough, I'm going to use this dotting tool. It's still quite a small one. I'm just going to move it about a little bit better. I also don't want to overdo it. And I think it's just about finding your way with these crafts. You can watch 100 videos, you could watch mine and it not be the same, but I want to take this right back to the beginning, which is where I'm starting from, so that you can do similar. Right, so we've got clear in this one and the white and black in that one, and I'm going to pop that under again for 3 minutes. 5 minutes, sorry. And when that's cured, I'll be back with you. Now let's get them out. And we have clear one. That seems more of a definite that's a thud thud thud. If that makes any sense to anybody else but me. So there's our clear one. My fault. I'm going to have to make sure that these go all the way up to the top because it's missing the bottom of it. So I think over pouring and scraping off is better for me at this stage. We sort of got it. It's not perfect, but we're sort of... I mean, I like this one for what it is itself now, but I'm trying to go for that marble look without it getting all mixed up and looking grey. But we sort of got it. It's just too much black being poured here and too much white. I wonder if it might be better to actually mix it in the pot and then pour it. Right, third time lucky. Let's try that. So I need some more clear resin. And a little splash of this white paste. And then we'll check if the clear resin that's been cured is actually soft. May need an extra time to cure. We will find out. So I'm just watching how this mixes together, because obviously we don't want it mixed in, we don't want it turning grey. when we add the black, but at the same time we want to make sure that the marble is going throughout the design, and that's why I'm thinking maybe sort of like similar to an acrylic pour, if that makes sense. In fact, I might do it where I tip it over to one side and then fill the black in from the other side and then tip it sort of together down the same spout. I think that might be a good idea. It's only a very small amount. Right. So we've got the pour spout here. I'm going to tip it over to one side and just sort of let it get to one side. Then I'm going to put the black on the opposite side, and then hopefully we can pour it down the same spout. If it doesn't mix too quick. Let's see, should I might just give it a little twiddle anyway. It's like yin and yang, doesn't it? Yeah, just give it a little mixer. And then let it do its own thing. Let's hope this works. Might pour too much here, but it's looking promising. Just let that level out a minute. I don't think we'll get another big one, so we'll just go for a smaller one. We might get two smaller ones, huh? Now, the rest of the resin in here, you can see black's definitely on one side and white's definitely on the other one, so let's see how that one actually turns out. And I just want to make sure that that point is definitely covered. Because we've had a couple where they've not gone all the way up to the edge. This has got quite a lot of white on this side, and I don't know if it's a... Yeah, because we didn't really do much with this one, we just poured it. Let's see what we can get. Out of that one. Right, I'll put that under and I'll be back with you in a minute. Okay, let's get them out and have a look what we've got. Which one first? Let's go with this one. Now there's nearly what I'm after. No, actually that's pretty close. That's more smoky though, I think. It's not as marbly as what I was hoping, but I think it might be because it's so small that it looks more smoky. I mean, that one's definitely more of a smoky. That's more of a marble. I think we might have something here. That's a bit domed at the back. Over poured on that one. There we go. There's the marble we wanted, I think. Probably looks looks quite grey on the camera. Maybe. I think I like these two better. So that was the initial pour. Then these two come afterwards, so it was sort of half and half in the pot. So I set a test to see if this dents or not. And this is really hard. It's exactly the same as the black one. It's not putting any dent in there at all. In fact, I'd say it's actually harder than the black one. So adding this paste definitely softens it up a little bit, but not to the point of it breaking, I think. So what we'll do, turn it over, and I'm going to put quite a lot of pressure on it just to see if it will actually go through or not. A little bit. Ooh, that actually went through, and it is still gooey on the inside. So that's definitely definitely was worth trying, and I cured them for the exact amount of time, the same, that clear one and these white ones, which was 5 minutes. Now I think 5 minutes is plenty of time. Obviously it was with the black. Maybe I'm putting too much paste in it, or maybe it's just not suitable for UV resin, but that's definitely liquidy inside there, and now that that is broken, I can actually feel how soft it is on this side. I'm not putting that much pressure on there, but there's a lot of white coming out. So there's still quite a lot of liquid left in there. So yeah, there you go. It's worth doing these experiments for these reasons, because if you think you've done something that looks really good and then it does that, it's not going to be very good in the long term if you're planning on doing these for gifts or for even selling. Obviously you don't want to sell to people. I'm quite curious to see if it happens with this black and white one now. Don't really want to ruin it, but this was the second one we poured and I wasn't that mad happy about this here. I much prefer this smokier look and this marble look. So let's just see if it does the same thing. So I'm glad I put that pressure on. And it's done exactly the same with that one. So it's definitely to do with the paste. So either the amounts between the resin and the white paste is too much white paste in it, or it's just not suitable for UV resin. Now, pretty much guarantee that these are all going to be the same then, so we may as well let's try this one, because this is the glitter resin that we did on the top and the normal hard black resin. No, it's not going nowhere. So it's definitely to do with the paste. Yep, definitely to do with the paste. What a shame. Yep, I need to do some more experiments with the mix of the white paste to see if it is the white paste or whether it's just not suitable for UV. I'm quite curious now to see if these smaller ones are done the same. May as well wreck all of them. Yeah, exactly the same. Right, so even though it's a failed experiment and we've not made anything nice out of it, it's not a failed experiment if you've learnt something from it. And I definitely have. So this epoxy white paste isn't good for the UV resin. At the consistency that I did, I am going to be putting this up to the test again with, that one didn't pop as much. It's definitely still soft in the middle, it's just not liquider. If you know the reasons for this, then let me know in the comments so we could all learn from people who've got some experience out there. But these pastes, or this particular paste, isn't, yeah, I know that's going to go straight through. I can feel how soft it is. So, these glitter ones, not as bad as the white one, but this isn't cured in the middle either. I did only leave these ones under for 3 minutes, thinking with how small it is and me having a double-sided UV lamp, I thought it would be okay. But obviously I'm not right. So I'm going to need to continue these experiments with solely with the white paste and these diamond dust glitter UV resins. I was just checking to make sure that these are not for adding to UV resin. I mean, that's something that we could do, we could try, but they should be suitable for using on their own, according to this. Right, I'm really curious, so I am going to get rid of any that I know. We're going to have to kill this poor dude as well, aren't we? Say goodbye to the camera. No, don't do it. I'm not even on that camera. Say goodbye. Say goodbye. No, don't do it. We know it's going to go through. We know we stabbed the guy and made him bleed. There we go. It's completely cracked through. So, obviously, I've got two thoughts. One is that it's because it says epoxy resin on the front and it needs that. I know there's an A and a B that you mix together and it needs the hardness to be able to work. Or it's not cured long enough. Or, which you should have done, or the white paste mixture was too concentrated with the white. Maybe we just put, I mean, I really did put a tiny amount in there anyway, but maybe we just put a little bit in with a toothpick. Let's try that. So I was going to clear up for the night, but obviously we need to do some more testing. So let's use a different colour. No, we'll use the same one because it's not one that I'm planning on using much in these final projects when we've figured out what our things do. Just want to see how long it says itself how to cure, because I was going, oh geez, I can't read that. Okay, this little leaflet comes with it. It's only got a small bit in English and it says exactly the same on the back. I've just magnified it. It says exactly the same on the back here as it does on the back of this, and it mentions nowhere on there how long to actually cure it for. So yeah, let's see how long it actually takes. I'm going to start off with a small one and we'll see how long it takes to actually cure. And I think I'm already realising that with UV resin in a bottle, that'd be a good idea to store it, or at least before you use it, store it upside down, because obviously you squeezing it out of a bottle when it's got air at the top is going to increase the chances of bubbles. And we'll get the one under the lamp and we'll see how long it takes. I'm going to put it on 5 minutes because 3 minutes obviously wasn't long enough. I'm going to mix some UV resin that we've tested the hardness of and had no problems with, and I am going to put the absolute tiniest amount of this white paste in. That's a tiny amount. Let's see if it makes any difference and see if we can actually see white working in this. So it is turning it white still, but obviously not as opaque as we had it earlier. But we're not finished mixing yet, so I'm just going to take that out and use my silicone stirrer. I can't see this getting actually white. I think it is going to be more of a translucent white. Translucent. I can't even say it. Less opaque. And I don't want that effect. I want white. So I am going to put a little bit more in. Again, very small amount. I actually had better results with mica powders. I'm going to cure this in a minute anyway, or a small amount of it, and then see if it made any difference putting a very small amount in. And if it cured all the way through, I'll add a little bit more to see if we can make this work. That's definitely more, it's not opaque, but you never know, it might actually be opaque after curing. So let's find out. And we're going to start off with a small one again. It is not very translucent, but it is quite translucent. Put that on for the 5 minutes. It sounds like the harder resin. Let's give it a try. So this is after 5 minutes. So it's gone through. Is it liquider? Or did it just break? Yeah, there's still liquid inside. So even after 5 minutes of curing time, from top and bottom, this is still very liquidy in the middle. Extremely liquidy in the middle. So, unless it works, I mean, it says on the thingy that there's no mixing, so it shouldn't be mixed with anything. It should work straight from the bottle, but it's not doing. Should I put it on for even longer, or am I just going to keep getting the same results? Let's try a different colour just in case it's that particular bottle for whatever reason. And we'll try this colour is just as pink. I'll get the seal off and I'll be back with you when that one is finished. So that's now had 5 minutes. Just going to take that one out, and it's definitely opaque, but it's not white. It's not white like the other ones were. So we're going to leave that one for the minute. I'm going to use this pink diamond dust glitter in this one. And it's such a shame if these don't work, because they look like really pretty colours. But there's no point in using something if it's no good. And I'm thinking whilst we wait to see if this one cures, we shall mix a little bit more white in this, just to see if we can get it a little bit more opaque. So we've got a very small amount on there, just to see if we can make it a little bit more opaque. Actually, whilst I'm doing that, I might as well get that one cured, because I'll need to give this a good mix. Definitely recommend these silicone tools. That looks a bit more opaque. Really should give you a guide of how much you should put in, rather than it being a load of guesswork. That looks a bit more of the result that we're after. It's not really white, but it's white enough. Come back to you when that's cured. Okay, so it's not quite cured yet, and just thought this has cooled down now, so we'll see if having this very tiny amount of paste actually affects the curing of this hard resin. Pushing pretty hard there and it's not going through. So a tiny bit of this paste we can get away with. So let's just see if we can put this a bit more opaque one. I mean, you can see the difference in the white there already. We'll try that one out in a minute. So that one's had 5 minutes. Let's take that one out. Leave that to sort of cure. And we're going to go ahead and put this mixture with the slightly more opaque white. Yep, it's definitely gone all the way over. And what I'm going to do is put some of this one in this top one just to see if we can get it to cure on a larger scale, because we don't want to make just small hearts all the time, because these bottles are not very easy to squeeze. And I'm going to put that under 5 minutes, but in the meantime I think we should have an idea of whether this one is going to break or not. Shame I can't get any closer because the light to my side is where it has to be, but I'll zoom in as much as I can for you to see it. It sounds hard, but let's see if we put some pressure on it whether it's gooey inside. Now it's looking a bit more promising. Right, that one didn't break, didn't do anything, didn't even make a mark, which is good. So I'm wondering whether it is that it needs 5 minutes. I'm sure we tried 5 minutes before. Whether it needs a full 5 minutes, or whether the orange one isn't actually that good. So just double check it from this side. Yeah, that's definitely cured all the way through. So we've got a good result with that one, and it's actually really pretty. It's got like a pearlescent shimmer to it. I won't call it glitter so much. It's not sparkly as such. Sort of a similar effect to what we got with the mica powders, only these are coloured. Though I think the bottles could probably do with a better shake. So I'm going to save this purple one, this pink one, which actually looks a bit more purple. I'm going to save that pink one for less experiments, because we've definitely had a good result with that one. I want to see how the other one goes. But this orange one, I want to test again for the full 5 minutes like we've just done this one. Just check that it's not the liquid that's the issue. So when this one's finished, we'll get that put in as well. So they've had the 5 minutes. Curious, really curious to see the white, but you can see the difference of how extra white it is. So hopefully that one allows us to keep that colour. It's still quite warm, these. I think with this one, because it's only had 5 minutes, I mean, then we know this one's hard and we know problems. I'm just going to want to hear the difference. That's like a thud. That's like a tap. But I don't know if that's because of the size of it or because it's not cured in the middle. Let's find out. Actually, we'll do this one first. That one's not going through. We seem to be okay with that. I wonder if we can add some extra white then. See if we can make it a little bit more opaque. I'm reluctant to do this one because I think it's actually going to go through, but let's find out. I think it might actually need longer time to cure. Nope, that is solid as well. So 5 minutes with these are fine. So I'm going to try the orange again, just to make sure it wasn't the orange one that was at fault. And I'm also going to add a little bit more white paste to this. I want to see how far I can push it. So again, we've got a very small amount. And I just want to keep adding white until it goes as opaque as I can get it, without it being soft in the middle. Make it look white. Let's go with this orange and see if we can get this cured, because I'm wondering whether it was the actual orange that was the issue or the time. So I like giving everything a fair try. That heart definitely needs more in because we won't get a point otherwise. Oops. Now she's done too much. So I'm going to leave that on for 5 minutes and then we'll come back to it. So let's take them out. So there's the orange one, the white one with that bit more pigment in it, and the white one with the same amount of pigment but bigger. It is a bit wobbly because I overfilled it, but they're definitely a nicer white. You can see the difference, especially between the first one we did and that one. It looks more grey than white. So I'm hoping that them two have set and cured all the way through. Fingers crossed. Same with this one, and then we can use it a bit more. So we've got a little bit of resin left. I'm going to get that tipped in, and this will be my last one today. We'll put that in whilst we test these other ones. That's on for 5 minutes. Right, let's have a look at these. Right, let's have a look. Oh, we might be promised. No, we're not. Right, so there's something wrong with this orange one. It's definitely gooey inside. So, yeah, big fail on that orange one. I just want to check again, just to double check. I want to put as much pressure as I can physically do on this one, which we said was cured earlier, just to make sure it's not just on the outside. No, that's not going anywhere. That is definitely cured all the way through. Something wrong with that orange one. Don't know what it is, but it's definitely not curing. So I need to do the same test with the other colours to make sure the rest of them are usable. Now let's try this white, more opaque look. Now that's paste it, but it doesn't seem gooey in the middle. Let's just tip it and find out. So I don't mind if it's pasted, it just means it's made it soft. We might need to go a bit longer. There's no gooiness coming out. There's no liquid at all coming out of that one. So it'd be interesting to see if this one does it, because I was really hoping to get this pigment, but obviously it looks like we may need to use powders instead of paste in UV resin. Yep, that one cracked. But is it gooey? It's not gooey. So, oh wait, no, there's a bit of goo in there. Yeah, if you dig and then move it around, there is liquid coming out. Not as much as earlier, but there's definitely liquid in there. So, it looks like to get white, we're not getting it with this paste. Don't know if that is because it was meant for epoxy. resin, I really don't know. I don't know the differences, to be honest, and I don't want to pretend that I do. So it looks like the one we've just put under is definitely not going to work. But what I'll do is when that one finishes, I'm going to put it on for another 5 minutes and cure it for 10 in total. I don't think it'll make much difference, but we're here to experiment. This one's been under for 10 minutes now. And I want to check if it's going to get paste or not. If it does, then it's definitely not going to be worth using this paste, because 10 minutes for a tiny little heart like that, it's a long time to wait for UV resin to cure, and it's cracked straight away. So, yep, definitely won't be using that paste in anything larger than these two that did pass the test. It's actually the next day that I'm doing this now, so just because I've got a little bit more strength in my hands, I just want to make sure it was still not pressing through. So you're not going to get a more opaque white, you're going to get these kind of results. And just put that next to the white that we're sort of hoping for. You can see the big difference between them. So I can't tell whether it is because of this particular paste that I've got, which is the one that looks like this, or whether it's because it says epoxy pigment paste. I don't know if it should work in UV as well as normal, but at the same time that one has been left overnight and it's still sort of cracked and it's quite brittle. So until I get some epoxy resin and I look into doing that type of thing, this will be going in the drawer for not being used, unfortunately. Them ones are all going in the bin. And next I want to try these, the rest of these that we didn't try. So we tried the orange and the pink. The orange didn't cure at all in the 3 minutes, but just for a test I'm going to put all 6 colours in these small hearts for 5 minutes and see what results we get. So we're starting off with the one we know actually works. That's a nice purple. Do you hear the blackbird? Do you feel it here? Must be feeling something. Maybe it's the thrill of the spring. I probably wouldn't purchase these again, only because of how difficult it is for me to squeeze these bottles and how fatigued my hands are getting. Must be feeling something. Maybe it's the thrill of the spring. Maybe it's a love thing. This one seems a lot more runnier. The consistency of each of these bottles are very different. This very first one was really gloopy, as was the red. Orange and this watermelon are extremely runny. Watermelon one being a lot more runny than the others. I'll put it under lamp and I'll come back to you when it's done. We're going for 5 minutes. Okay, so they've had 5 minutes. I'm just going to do the tappy tap test. That orange one definitely sounds different. But we're going to pull this one out because this is the same one that actually cured really well on the previous test, and I just want to make sure that this is actually going to go through. Isn't going to go through, I should say. If it doesn't, then neither should the rest of them. Sorry. glove fart. Right, that one's not gone through. So, theoretically, the rest shouldn't. So I'm just going to put out, just going to say the colours of what they are as I take them out. So we've got the pink was first, then the orange, then the purple, then the red, then the rose, then the watermelon. Right. Oops. So pink has passed its test. And these do all come out super easy. The watermelon and the orange look very similar. So we've got the orange, the purple, the red, the rose and the watermelon. Well, let's see if orange is held up. Nope, that orange is definitely no good. So that orange truly well failed. And it's had exactly the same amount of time. But that's the result and the mess we get. Let's try the violet. Nope, that one's fine. Going for the red next. And that one's fine. God, my hands are going to be sore after this. And next is rose. And that one's fine. And the watermelon, this is the other one that I was concerned about. Because it did seem soft putting it in. Yep, straight through. So the watermelon and the orange, which I said was very similar in consistency, I've broke my heart. So yeah, is it still liquidy inside? Yeah, it's liquidy as well. There you go. All I can say about the orange and watermelon one is that it might work if you mix it with another hard type resin. But the pink, the violet, the red and the rose seem absolutely fine. I'm going to try and mix these two with some normal UV resin and see what kind of effects we might get. Start with the orange one first. Give that a little mixy. Definitely more glittery. And we'll go for the watermelon one. I'll give that a bit of a stir too. I can see the difference now between the two colours mixing it with this other resin, and it doesn't say anywhere on the box to use it in a different resin. It says you should be able to just pour straight into the moulds. It does say on the box there's no mixing required. Let's tip this one in. And we'll put them under for 5 minutes. Okay, that's had its 5 minutes. I'm just going to leave that off to the side to cool for a sec. But what I've done is mixed up some of this red one with the same UV resin, the clear UV resin. That one. Because I wanted to see the difference between one that we've already done and one that's going to be done mixed, just to see what difference there is. Obviously we can't test that against these ones because they sort of disintegrated. So I'm going to tip that in there in a minute and get that one cured. But in the meantime, let's demold these two. and see how that's worked out. So now obviously they are a definite, definite difference between colour. Whereas before there's quite similar, but mixing it with the UV resins definitely give it more of a colour of its own. And they do look a lot more sparkly than the other ones did, but we'll test that theory a bit better when we come to do the red one. In the meantime, I want to see if these stab through. I've got my little stabby stick. We'll try the orange one first because this one's notorious for going through. And that, my friends, is hard. Yep, it's left a dent, but it is only a dent where pressed in, it's not sort of doming in. So that one worked well. So with the orange and watermelon ones, actually that one just went through. Only a little bit. But it definitely did break through it. So it has cracked it. But only, it's definitely not gone through as in like it's broke it or shattered it. It just literally went through the top layer then stopped. So yeah, putting them with clear resin obviously strengthens them. So they're the results now that we've got for the orange and the watermelon. And I want to do this red one in a bigger size. I thought rather than wasting the rest of this UV resin, I'm going to just see what it actually does on a piece of, well, this is a packing bag, but I suppose it's similar to, I was just about to throw it away. It's a bit of a packing bag, but I just wanted to see if it sort of forms a sheet of glitter UV resin and how thin I can get it. So I've got some ideas where I need some thin layers of acrylic for an idea that I've got. But if the thin layer of acrylic doesn't work, the old project won't work. So I'm just going to try this on here, and if this doesn't work, I'll try it on a couple of other surfaces like acetate and a few other things. I just wanted to see how it cures and if it'll actually work or not. And I'm not going to cure this for very long, probably just about 60 seconds. I'm just going to take that red heart out first. I'll just move that one back. I'm just going to cure that for a minute and then we'll have a look at both of them together. Okay, so that's had about 60 seconds and I just want to check if it's actually hardened. Sounds hard. Just give that a minute to cool down. And we'll have a look at this little heart we have here. So we wanted to test the difference between the red that we see in that and that one, which is mixed in. It's definitely got more of a glitter effect, but obviously you lose the colour. Not sure if it's showing on there, but this one's more of a shimmer from what I can see, and this one's definitely more of a dusty sparkle. I'm just going to pop this one over and see if the stab test works. Get me stabber. Yep, works, holds well. Happy with that. Right, so we've got a good few tests there. Obviously the watermelon and the orange one didn't work on their own, but once mixed with the UV resin, we come up with some good results. And we've got some nice sort of shimmery gold. Difficult to see it on that glove, so I changed gloves. shimmery gold on there. Clear this desk and we'll have a look at this thin layer that I did. So this is the layer. I wasn't sure if the plastic itself would melt or anything, but it doesn't look like it has. Still feels flexible on there. So whether it's fully cured or not, I'm unsure, but I'm just going to see if I can peel this away or if it's just something that's not going to work on this material. Oh, there we have it. Now, yeah, it's not the smoothest job in the world. Well, I've definitely managed to get a clear, sparkly, slightly red tinged sheet, and it's flexible. Let's see how it snaps when it's folded. And this end is definitely thinner than this end. So I folded it all the way down, and I just want to see if it actually snapped anywhere. If I can get it back open because it's stuck to itself. Yeah, it seems like the thinner end is actually stuck to itself. Too much where I can't actually get it off, but I folded that right in half and it didn't snap or break. It just stuck to itself too much where I can't pull it apart. But yeah, that's definitely given me a few ideas now of what I can do. I just need to perfect the actual making it nice and smooth. I've got a couple of ideas of how to do that. Just want to have a quick check of how easy it cuts as well. It shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, no problem cutting. And it's not fracturing or going off on its own little thing. Yeah, got a few ideas for that. So the white paste wasn't worth, in my opinion, working with. It left you with very dull looking white colour because you couldn't mix enough with it. I think the whitest out of those is probably this one. Just checking we've actually stabbed them. So the white ones, even though the four of them come out, the actual white colour failed miserably. The orange ones and the watermelon ones needed mixing with clear UV resin. That was just a test of the resin. That was a test of the resin with the orange. Now, I've actually not tried this from this side, but I'm wondering now, because we've done the experiment on these glitter ones, whether this front bit would actually go through. Let's give it a try. Yeah, I can hear it. Oh, straight through. That's broke. So the orange on its own definitely isn't worth bothering with, so that one was a fail as well. And then the rest of the colours seem to have worked quite well. So we've got a few hearts there that we can work with. I know this one's not like an how-to video or showing you a massive result. It is more about the experiment side of what we're actually getting from Temu and what actually works. Again, the epoxy paste was epoxy paste. It wasn't classed as a UV paste, so maybe that's something to do with it, I don't know. But these are the results that we got. This was definitely for UV. It was actually stated on the box as well, there it is, UV resin. But like we witnessed, the orange and the watermelon one just didn't work at all on their own. But we've got a few good things out of there, and then obviously either you can test these out yourself if you get them, or you can go off what I've said and mix the orange and watermelon with some clear resin. Right, that's all for today. Thanks for watching, thanks for joining, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.